Hi, welcome to the In My Bag podcast. It's me,
Hey,
Melly Chan, aka the Pirate King,
aka
aka
Meliana, don't lie to the people.
I don't know who that is, aka Thanos. Today I have with me Trash Bag and Teddyana.
Wait. No, call me by my actual name, Daddy.
No,
People are gonna be
that's
confused.
not your name. That's not your name.
That's weird.
Yeah, she
So
over here
adamant.
spreading the lies, man. It's crazy.
It
Like
hurts. It
10
really
people
hurts.
already. Yeah.
Well,
Mm, mm. So when am I gonna get some actual respect around here, huh? When am I gonna get my fucking respect?
I don't know when you deserve it.
Yikes!
Yeah,
That's that's big yikes right there, man. Big yikes.
you hate to see it.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what I did to her. She's just angry all the time.
Yeah.
Wow, you're trying to stereotype me. I'm never angry.
Stereotype you. What stereotypes?
I'm never angry. Well, people say, "Oh, black women are angry," yada yada. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
It's,
So let's
it's not even a
forget that.
black man thing. It's just you.
Okay. Well, today we're gonna talk about luck. I was thinking about it. I had watched a video from this this channel called Jubilee, and they had millionaires go walk up and talk about their experience as millionaires. And obviously, like, if you've seen the Richest podcast, you would know how I thought about that. Um, like, like from that, I got what is it that makes you successful or puts you like in a good or bad spot? Is it luck, or is it the actions that you do?
Mm.
And what are some examples that could differentiate the two, but it the scenarios are like sort of faded in like a gray area.
Mm.
Are you ready for our opinion? Or are you still going on it?
No, I'm ready for your opinion.
Um, I don't know. Like Teddy, you want to take this first or what? How you feeling about it?
So the thing with luck, right? I feel like it's a lot more it's a lot more tangible and a lot less random than people think, right? Where, for example, so I read this quote a very long time ago, and it says, "Luck is when opportunity meets preparation." So basically, meaning that the only reason you got quote unquote lucky is because you were prepared to take the opportunity when it presented itself, right? Which is once I learned about that, I looked at luck in a completely different light because I look back at some of the times in my life when I thought I got lucky, right? But then upon closer inspection, I realized, oh, I I guess I was quote unquote lucky, but the thing is, I was prepared to take advantage of the opportunity when it presented itself, you know? Like for example, let me give you an example. Let's see. Um, pa, 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 pa. Huh. It's a lot harder to come up with it on the fly, but
I mean, you could look at it from like a social aspect, right? If you put yourself in weird social situations, maybe one of these times you see a girl that you find maybe attractive, and you have the guts to go talk to her because the opportunity is there. But you've been talking to people, so your social confidence is, you know, higher than it was before. So now you're capitalizing on the opportunity to talk to that chick, or maybe get a job or whatever it is.
mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
closest example I can think of.
Oh, actually, you know what? That's a good example. Um, on my previous job, not where I'm at now, but previous position. When I first started, right, I was like at the bottom of the ladder, right? I was a bottom feeder, and but I was super just dedicated to my work. Always showed up with a positive attitude. Always willing to help wherever help was needed. And so, when a position freed itself that was a little bit above where I was at, instead of advertising the position, they came to me, right? Because I let them know in advance that I was willing to start at the very bottom, but my plan was to keep moving up, learning more skills, becoming more of an asset to the company. So me telling them that, coupled with my hard work and everything, led to me being prepared, right? To grab an opportunity when it presented itself. So when my boss, the spicy one, called me in her office, right?
Oh my god.
I was a mess because I had all kinds of emotions going through my mind, like fear, arousal.
Oh
So
my
when you
god.
get called into the
I hate
boss's
this
office,
guy
right?
so much.
Hey, you love me and you know it. But when you get called into the boss's office, usually it's bad news because you messed up somewhere and that's why you're getting called in. So she came and she's always like in a serious mode. That's her default mode. Is like serious mode. So she came in by my desk and she was like, Teddy, can you see me in my office for a minute? I was like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. But on the inside, I was a whole mess. So we get in the office, and she's like, "Relax, it's good news." I was like, "Oh shit, word, okay, all right, I'm here for it. What are we doing? I mean, you know,
Wow. What are we doing? Wow.
what what's the deal? What's going on?" I realized when I said that house, so I had to. But she was like, "So we had this position that got um, freed up because whoever was in there moving somewhere else, so they won't be able to be here. Do you want the position?" I was like, "Oh shoot, really? Yeah, for sure." And they could have easily put it up like on a hiring site, right? Like Indeed or Monster or something like that. But before they did that, they ran it by me. We think Teddy might be a good fit for this. And at the time, because where I was coming from was a very not good place, I considered myself so lucky, right, that they gave me the position. But then it was one of those moments when, in the very moment, I'm like, oh, I am so blessed. Oh my goodness. And of course, like in the grand scheme of things, it is a blessing and day. But in the moment, I didn't realize, right? It was a culmination of my attitude and my hard work and everything that led to that opportunity presenting itself for me,
Hmm.
which in turn made it seem like, oh, I got lucky, but really it wasn't just sheer luck, right? So that's going back to what I was saying before, that you can, to some extent, I guess, create your own luck, right? And it's all about your attitude. Like you will notice how some people, like the people that seem to be the luckiest, are usually the happiest. And I think part of it um, is a karma thing, but also like an attitude where, because of how they are as a person, they just,
I disagree.
oh shoot,
I
I
don't
hey,
think
I'm
I
here for
don't
it.
think I don't think the luckiest people necessarily are the happiest people, or I don't think the luckiest people
Oh,
um necessarily
wait,
deserve it.
well,
Like,
here's the
not
thing:
all
the way
lucky
you're
people
phrasing it.
deserve like what they have. There's a lot
Mm,
of people in this world who
So,
have
but
more
what you're
than they
saying that
deserve.
though. But here's the thing though: when you say that, you're making it seem like, because those people, if they get lucky, they didn't choose for things to happen the way they did. I mean, they just go about their life, right? If we're going to go off of the assumption that luck is something completely random that you can't really, do much about it, then you can't really
Well,
blame those people,
so
regardless of if we think that they deserve that luck or not. It just happened to them, right?
so so you think that luck has something to do with karma? That's what you think.
Based on what I've seen, yes.
Hmm.
I don't know about karma.
I feel like a lot of people who are in lucky situations, like whether they're like happy or they feel in like whatever way they are, they're successful, yada. Like just because somebody's feels good doesn't mean that's a good spot for them. If they're not growing, if they don't have to do with issues. A lot of times I don't know if people who struggle, I mean like us, not people in like third world situations, like you know what I'm saying. I'm talking about like people like us. We
Hmm.
get to see sort of everything, but on both ends they can only imagine, from the richest of the rich to like the poor of the poor. They can only imagine what's out there that people like us can like see what we can, you know what I mean? We're in the situation where we're sort of like, even if we're
In the
broke,
middle.
yeah, we can see everything. And like I don't know how to take that and say, am I lucky or am I just like, is this where we're supposed to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
like when I think about this idea of luck and everything, I always think about what leads up to these situations. Sometimes it's not even the decisions you make that lead to the consequences or the results, the effects that enable you for whatever it is. Like sometimes it's just your parents leaving a bad situation, maybe coming to America, and that gives you a better opportunity, right? And maybe that is your luck, being able to be born in America.
Hmm.
Or for another example, Ninja. He blew up out of nowhere. This man was streaming. He was a professional gamer and everything before that, but he wasn't like well known like that. So now after he plays Fortnite for a little bit, ends up being pretty good because he's pretty good at most games, and then Fortnite just blows up and he goes with it. I mean, the timing, everything just lapped over each other, and
Hmm.
I. It's just situations like that that happens in people's lives where
Do you agree with him in that he's the LeBron James of Fortnite?
no, 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 no. He is the face of Fortnite though. 100%, he is the face of Fortnite, but he's not the best at it. You know.
That's what
Um,
he said or some shit.
oh
Or
well, I don't really want to say. I was just discussing that because the idea that you could be doing something for years, like you could be like the best artist in the world, but if no one sees your stuff or appreciates your stuff like that, I mean, are you really? So you got to wait for that timing. That what people typically call luck for your chance. So I just think it's just opportunities, things just happen. Sometimes it's just the flavor of the
Hmm.
month, and that's what people want to see or that's what people want to hear.
But
Uh,
I was gonna say, because you gave interesting example. I was thinking about like the example of a kid whose parents came from a third world country, U.S., right? So you could say, yeah, he was lucky to be born in the U.S., but that can be luck or misfortune depending on what they do with it, you know? Because you think about it, as many opportunities as there are in the US for you to thrive, there are also many opportunities for you to destroy yourself. Like with addiction, it could be anything. It could be drugs, weed, food, like sex, anything, right? Because America is the land of the free. So when you come here, depending on how you choose to live your life, you could say, man, I was so unlucky to be born here, or I was so lucky to be born here. So that's why I said I feel like a lot of it is your attitude and what you make of certain situations, right? Because there's so many times things don't go our way and we think we're so unlucky. We 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 don't have the ability to see the bigger picture, right? And when I
Yeah.
say bigger picture, it's like how you not going to that party or whatever affected everything else down the road. Like it's a perspective that I learned when I was, because my parents, they were super protective. So a lot of times when my classmates or friends, whatever, would throw birthday parties and all that stuff, we wouldn't really. Oh man, you back, Millie?
Yeah, keep going. Just keep going.
Okay. But I was I was very sheltered, so whenever my friends would have birthday parties or all that stuff, I wouldn't really go like that. And a lot of times I felt like I was missing out. But the thing is, my mom gave me perspective. She was like, "Well, the thing is, where the country that we live in, people use that as a means to get into your head and do stuff to you that you might not like." And I mean, even here, like you hear stories of girls, they go to parties and shit happens to them, right? So if you have a parent that's like that, that's like, nah, I don't want you to go to this party because I don't know what they do to you or whatever. In the moment, you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm the unluckiest person on this earth. All my friends are turning up while I'm not partaking in the festivities. And then later on, you learn that something went down
Yeah.
in at the party, or maybe not even. It doesn't have to be something very. Could be, oh, everybody caught a cold or something. And
Yeah.
like if one person has a cold and they go to a party, the chances of everybody catching that is super high. So you go to school the next day, everybody sneezing, coughing, chilling. Like, oh, what happened? Yeah, well, somebody was hella sick, but they decided to go to the party anyway, so they contaminated all of us. Good thing you weren't there. So then you look at it, wow, I guess it wasn't so bad after all, huh? Because it's like even if you didn't go, it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like, to me, luck is more than just what happens to you that's outside of your control. It's more about your perspective. Because depending on how you look at your life, you can count yourself really lucky or unlucky, right?
Yeah.
So, but I feel like the kind of luck um, that's really interesting to talk about is the kind that doesn't affect you directly. Like, you can wake up every day and say, to be alive, to be able to walk on my 2 feet, because not everybody can, right? Like
No,
things
that's
Yeah.
like
like that.
shit we take for granted, though. I don't think
That is
we ever
true.
consider stuff like that lucky.
Like those things, you should be grateful for them more than just feeling lucky that you have them. You should be grateful that you have good health and you're able to function like a regular human being. Uh, but yeah, like the luck I'm talking about, when you the kind you were talking about earlier, God said, where like you're meeting a girl and you decide to talk to her, and a few years down the road y'all end up getting, like all these things, like you're gonna look back on the moment you, wow, I'm so lucky this happened, right? So
Yeah.
now
It
I
just
have
it's
I
just
have
it's like a trippy like conversation to have. It's like nothing's real. Like it's some stuff like it's hard to say if it's just luck or if like luck or if it's just like meant to happen or like
Oh, like
hmm
predestined,
what?
predestined. Like I find like I was raised Seventh Day Adventist, and we have this discussion all the time about if we're all born to die, right? And like I'm gonna go a little bit in the bag.
go for
So
it.
the idea is that if if God already knows who's gonna be saved, is it already predestined that we're all gonna either be evil or be a bad person from when, like the day we're born, or do we actually have a chance to change our faith and or change our fate and be who we actually want to be? Like, are our lives already predestined, you
Hmm.
know? And you could put that into the sense of luck, because if you want to talk about like the chances and the opportunities you get, is that Like
Is
you're
there such thing as chances? Or,
yeah.
Oh. See,
So were you destined to have that chance? Were you destined to be in that position?
Yeah, that's a good question, honestly. I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know.
sometimes I feel like things were supposed to happen and they never did. Like one time, me and my mom were driving home from I don't even know where, but it was like middle of the day, right? And
Hmm.
we're going down the street, and you know we have the right of way. Like it's in like a houses area, like just streets of like houses. So we got the right of way. There's no stop sign, and there was a stop sign for the other crosswalk. Like so, it's like a X. So like, we had the right of way. They didn't, but they
What
just
happened?
sped through, and they almost like they were like right in front of us, and my mom had to like push on the brake because we were going through the intersection and they were going through the intersection, and it just felt like like you know when your life flashes before your eyes. It felt like that.
Yeah.
It felt like that. Like I felt like we were dead. Like it's like I don't know if I blinked. I feel like I didn't blink, but it's like somehow we made it past that car without like dying. And they weren't even going like they were going fast, but not like fast enough where we could have gotten hurt real bad or something. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
not fast enough to where they could have missed us. So it was just one of the situations where it was just like, how did that happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it looked like they hit us, but they didn't. Like 1 second later, they're over on the other side. So it was like, so stuff like that. Like just situations where it's just like, you wonder what could have happened as well.
Wait, are you religious? Spiritual?
I don't know. I have a weird relationship. I like I was quote unquote raised Christian but never went to church. So let's just say I believed in God. Now I don't know. I think someone said I'm like agnostic atheist or some shit. So like
Hmm.
I'm not gonna deny there's a God, but I don't want to say there's one either.
I think agnostic is the word. Like you believe in a higher power, not necessarily. But I was bringing that up because that goes back to Teddy's point of view. Like most people would call that luck, but then if you're a religious person, you believe that's all God's doing. That's a blessing. Like He blessed you that day. You know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's different ways you can take that, and there's definitely the perspective on how you want to put that. And that's the thing. Like luck is such a tricky word and a concept to like understand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like
You know
what
what's
does it
funny?
truly mean to be lucky or have luck?
There are some people out there, right? Because it's a good thing that you asked Melly if she's religious, because there are some people legit. They think that everything was preordained and predestined, and that even the fact that you believe that you have freedom of choice is part of the whole equation. And when it's a concept that is so outlandish to me, right? Rightfully so, because we like to believe that we are um, independent in the way we think, right? To some extent,
Or even in control of our lives in general.
or even in control. Exactly, but I guess with the movie The Matrix, a lot of people started coming up with these theories that maybe the world that we live in was already pre-calculated, and all of our moves, even those that we believe to be of our own will and volition, they're not really. You know, you were meant to do those things. And when you think about it, really, it's a very frustrating concept to think about. Because then you kind of lose your sense of autonomy, right? You feel like a puppet almost.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like everything I do is
I mean, well,
is
that's a horrible way to look at life because that can lead to a lot of.
I agree because
Let me
if
go murder all these people because I'm a puppet. Doesn't matter
yeah,
anyway.
No, no, no. I don't necessarily mean that. I'm thinking of a more people kind of just give up. Like you feel like
Exactly,
it's not in your
whatever
hands.
is happening in your life, yeah, it's out of your control. You can't control the
I always
outcome
go
of
to
it.
the worst situations.
Yeah, we noticed. We definitely noticed.
I'm not crazy, people. I go dark.
I don't know. See, that's a whole different conversation because I feel like women are most likely to think about the worst situation because they're raised to think about the bad situation. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad reason because I mean there's a lot of fucked up shit that happened to women, especially in America. Actually no, just around the world,
Oh
like
yeah.
women get treated like shit. So as a mother who's raising like her daughter, you got to make sure she knows about these things. So that's a whole nother discussion.
God damn it.
Did she leave?
No,
Yeah, she keeps
Discord
pooping in
moves
and
me.
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Even though I'm talking and my light's always green, so it makes no sense, but it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you think
it's
of, like-
very
like-
unsettling.
Like, even all the wars and stuff. It's like, was that luck? Like, bad luck? Or was that, like, what, like, it really makes you, like, what are, like, the drives and, like, how society is back to this point. Like, obviously we know, like, there's, like, a lack of, like, cultural understanding from before, and, like, there's, dictatorships, corruption, shit like that. That shit's caused wars. But is it more that was meant to happen? Or do we cause this on our own?
You see, this is where you look at situations like this. There's people who, okay, we can even go deeper than this. It starts off with like that nature versus nurture. So even in the situation like Hitler had to be raised in a situation, right, where he felt like no one else was worthy besides this certain group of people, right? And even being raised in that situation, he still had to be, you could quote unquote say lucky to have the opportunity to have that talking voice and be able to understand people, at least the people living around him, enough that he can get them to rally behind this cause. For no matter how bad it is, he was still able to get these people to rally to him, right? So when you're talking about like wars and what leads to these dictators, it's people who are still quote unquote lucky or put in these positions. But that goes back to the religious thing: is it on purpose? Are these people put in these positions for a chance for people to better themselves, to see like the worst of it, so maybe they can try to strive to be better? Or like this is actually like a super religious conversation, to be honest.
Are people, like, really, I feel like the other thing is, are people meant to die how they die?
Well, hey, we had like little youth groups back in like high school and stuff like that, or more middle school. We were talking about like when people die young, like why do people die young and stuff like that. And yes, sometimes it's stupid accidents, but it's when people die like that, it really puts a weight on other people's lives, no matter how old or young you are. It definitely gives you something to think about, and it does change people, like certain people's hearts, to reflect on what they're doing in their lives. And sometimes that's a big enough change for someone to, or a big enough effect for someone to change, and that leads to different outcomes, you know? So are you really predestined at the end? Are these all like domino effects that are supposed to happen? I don't know, that shit's deep. That's heavy.
Right?
It is
That's
deep.
heavy.
Like when you have to stop and think about it, man, it's like, ooh, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Because that really asks, like, what is your self-worth? What is your life worth, you know? If all these things are supposed to happen, right? If
Yeah.
another Hitler were to come to power, I mean, how would that shape the world and change it? Or maybe we have the best situation or outcome from it, and it brings the world together. And after one more world war, we end up coming together as like Earth, you know, just like
That's
humanity.
right.
Yeah. For lack of words, I said Earth.
We are Earth.
You know, like I just think that's some wild shit.
Either that or look at
Maybe.
the Hunger Games.
Oh wow. Like
Yeah,
yeah. But the thing is, you never know how people are going to grow from these situations. Sometimes it's for the better or for the worse.
Yeah.
Someone could die close to you, and that may open up your heart, and you might want to help people more, or you may want to get revenge, and maybe you're the type of person who's like, "Fuck it, man, I'm gonna kill whoever killed my family or my friends and stuff like that." So you just never know. Like this really goes back on to what Teddy was saying. Like it's how you look at these things. Is it really luck?
that's the thing. I feel like whatever we refer to as luck, about anywhere between 60 to 70% of the time, it's not really luck. It's more like a mixture of the things I was talking about earlier. Like you happen to be ready for a specific opportunity, or you took the necessary steps to be at the right place at the right time, things like that.
I don't
I
know, but
hate that. I hate the right place at the right time.
no, look, I 100% agree because you gotta prepare for the opportunities that you're looking for. If you don't have practice drawing something or singing something, so when the opportunity comes that someone asks you like, "Hey, I'll pay you good money to draw something or sing something for me," you won't be ready. But the thing is, when that opportunity comes, like, what is dictating who are getting these opportunities? How people look at the person to give that opportunity to.
Hmm.
And is that considered luck, or is that considered, you know, is there a higher energy involved in that?
hmm Like, I'm trying to think about some everyday thing. Even sometimes, like, let's say I'm running a little bit late, right? But then I
I was
run
just thinking that.
fast enough to like catch the bus or the max or whatever, like the train that I take to get to work. Sometimes, like, I count myself lucky, right? That, man, I made it. I was able to get on it. But then I think back, I'm like, but at the same time, I stay pretty active. I'm on my feet a lot. I go to the gym, like all things like that. So all those things made it so that I was able to catch the bus. Because if I wasn't in the shape that I am right now, I'd probably try and run, but I wouldn't make it. Because it's like, damn, I ain't got the speed. I ain't got the wheels like that. But yeah,
Wave
man.
made a good point. I also think
What
with
you,
luck, it's not necessarily good or bad initially. Who's lucky in this scenario? A kid who grew up with both parents sheltering him, or a kid who grew up in a broken house?
wait, what?
So who's lucky in this scenario? A kid who grew up with both parents sheltering him, or someone who grew up in a broken home?
Well,
Uh,
see, that's the thing, right? It goes back again to how you spin it, because
Yeah.
whoever grew up in a broken home, they might have used that as their fuel to be successful. Like, I'm gonna make sure my life turns out good just because of where I came from. Other people might use that as a handicap, right? Like, man, I can't get to where I want to get to in life because of this.
He loves to
And the
talk a
same
lot of
thing you
shit
say
in
for
the
the other
stream
one.
chat,
What did you say?
but he wants to stay muted. Well, okay.
Wow, yes. Oh, wow, okay.
Too rich for who just got rich again. I'm
what the
ready.
Okay.
I just
fuck?
finished eating.
What just happened?
That's the energy you came in with?
I just finished eating. I'm ready to go.
Oh, he came in all crazy, like, look at
Okay.
this guy.
Actually, I think that's a good question to ask to Key, because I imagine, Key, you're religious, right? You believe in God?
Hell no, son.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I'm agnostic.
Oh, okay. So you believe in a higher power, not necessarily.
No, I don't believe in anything. I believe that there's no way for us to find out, so we shouldn't draw conclusions. That's
See,
what I believe.
he tried to tell me I was agnostic.
That sounds more atheist though.
That's
Atheists
exactly
don't
what I was
believe
about
that
to
there
say.
is a
No,
God.
no.
No, atheists will tell you straight up there's nothing.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so they know for certain, but agnostic means you don't know, so you prefer
Yeah.
not to go on. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
All right. I
That is
see.
that.
Sasuke says fuck Keith.
Yeah.
That's true. That's the energy, bro.
Well, so Key, I hate to say this, but I don't know that you're welcome here because in here we believe in the Church of Thanos.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not the Archbishop. Okay, the Archbishop is Meliana, so she can tell you more about that. It's not me. I'm just speaking on her behalf, but
Create your own luck, fucking anime ass nigga.
Hey, but there's truth to that though, honestly. Like as much as we think of luck as something that's like completely random, there's a big part of it actually is how prepared you are on a day-to-day basis to seize
Yeah, I agree.
opportunities when they present themselves,
Yeah.
So
I also think not even just like seizing an opportunity, but being prepared even reveals that those opportunities exist at all.
exactly, like you have to put yourself out there, right? Like
Yeah.
because if you always shelter yourself, like you're never gonna know, oh, maybe there's this and that going on. Like I remember somebody
Yeah.
said, you don't necessarily need to go crazy and do a lot of things, but you need to be present.
Yeah.
And at the time when that person said that man is full of wisdom, but told me. But when he told me that at the time, I was like, that sounds like some really deep philosophical concept that has nothing to do with me. But when you start putting it into practice, it's amazing the things that start happening.
Yeah, man.
So that's a really good point. I completely forgot about that, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I
Melly
think
hates
I
when you
think
say
about
that,
that
though.
though. Even on the idea of being prepared for your opportunities, the idea of you being prepared in the first place is still what do you call it? A luck. I was gonna say a blessing, but I'm gonna take that out of it. It's still luck, being able to have the chance to prepare for that, to have the tools around you.
That's it. It's like you took the idea out of my head on like some fucking Harry Potter shit. My next point was gonna be how sad it is that even access to opportunities denied from so many people in the world.
Yeah. I was
It's like
thinking that.
even if it's like you're so unlucky that the system is set up in a way that you are this like 99% that doesn't have access to the happiness that you could have otherwise because of the way that the world is set up.
Yeah, like even from the college
example.
about the knowledge or how good you are at a skill, when you even get to that higher levels, it's all about the people you know. It's not even about how good you are. You can't get that opportunity unless you know the right people, especially if you're talking about that corporate design. And
Like a lot of times your qualifications come second to your personality and your social network.
Yeah, so at what point is luck still a thing?
Social network. Like,
yeah. And also just like the stereotypes that you're given, like a woman, for example, in a corporate world, much harder than being a man in a lot of situations.
Yeah. That's a big point.
So where does luck actually stop? And like I guess we'll go back to this predestination topic. Like, when are you predestined for something? When were you meant to do something?
When you're Jesus, apparently.
Oh my god. No, I feel like
I don't think anyone's predestined for anything.
Would you still call it luck? Like having those people like that are in the 99% when there's a system created. That system was created by people like
Who took it from other people?
Who took it from other people. Everybody just takes and does shit. If those are actions, is that luck? Is it luck that you're poor, or is that just how it is? You know?
That's actually a really good point. For like, for example, for the slave owners who had that, who build companies off the back of slaves, Asians, blacks, Hispanics, and then now in this day they still have a thriving company and their kids have that opportunity.
Oh,
You know, like, do we count that as luck? That kid who's born into that rich family, is that luck?
Or is that like a
by
force?
design. They created it.
But that's not like that's not predetermined either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if it was the other way around?
Well, it'll still be the same situation. It doesn't matter what color or what race
I
did
mean,
it.
yeah.
In that situation, you still coming up from putting down or
No, but I mean,
You-
when I say was, what if it was the other way around? I mean, like that's that's the whole thing. It could be the other way around. So is that luck? Like, is it luck that, like, you know, the minorities weren't able to fight back, or they didn't fight back? Like the world could be so. I don't know how to explain what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I know it's hard to make the distinction clear, but I do think it's an important stuff. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I just think luck incorporates so many different things that you just can't nail down what is luck, because so many things have to happen right in order for, you know, this quote unquote luck to happen, for you to be lucky.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. This is a toughie.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, even let's say you're born into a shitty situation, right? And let's say, like, you're working some minimum wage job, like in your mid-20s, and you're like, shit's not going so well, and it's like a cycle that your family kind of goes through, where everyone in my family has kind of gone through this kind of thing, where we finish high school, maybe we drop out, we end up in shitty jobs, and we kind of just do this, and then we end up having kids, and those kids, we don't know how to teach them, so they end up in the same situation that we were in. Like, that kind of shit. Like, people sometimes just don't even know or have the tools to get out of these shitty situations. So, like, luck can't even help them at all if they were to get lucky.
Yeah. Well, that now we're going back to like that Church of Thanos conversation, having riches and and the opportunities.
My thing though is like, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about perspective, where even though you may not have access to all the resources you need at the time, still finding like the silver lining in your current situation can really help you get by, where you don't feel as unlucky, right? Because you're able to see some kind of brightness. Because regardless of how I want to say how difficult the situation may be, I feel like as long as you're alive, there is something there for you to like be glad for. It may not be much, but it's something, right? Because I know that I've had times when I had nothing. I think I've mentioned this before, where I was living with my sister and we were shopping with pennies. Like, we'll go to the store, we have like, I remember it was like $4.69, right? We went to Walmart and we just got all the absolute cheapest bread, the cheapest like ham or whatever. Did some Coke or something to wash it down. Coca-Cola, of course.
Thank you for specifying.
When you say Coke, they're thinking about the sniff, the powder. No, I'm talking about the beverage.
How old are you?
Dude, I was like, let's see, that was 2013, so yeah, like 26.
So you're in your early 20s.
24, yeah.
Bro, that's rough, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, man. But you know what? The whole time, me and my sister were just laughing. Because we were just glad that we even had that money in the first place to buy stuff, to eat. And we're just barely getting by. But in all of that, and it also helps when you have somebody to fall back on. You're just kind of picking each other up and everything. It
Yeah.
really helps. But
Yeah.
I feel like as unfortunate as situations can be, and as quote unquote unlucky as it can be, there's still some silver lining in there, right? And when you look at that and you work off of that, it can lead to better things. I mean, where I am today is light years away from there. Like I'm freaking sipping on rum and coke right now. Okay, that's my routine. Back in the
Wow.
Let's
day, I
go.
wouldn't even think about that, right? Because I didn't have money for it. So it's like it's one of those things where I feel like sometimes we probably feel worse for people that are unfortunate than they feel themselves about their situation. Like we're looking at
Actually,
it from the outside in.
that's a really good question. Do you think there's a finite amount of quote unquote luck? For the idea that if me and Teddy are going for the same job and Teddy gets the job, he's quote unquote lucky. But me, on the other hand, I was unlucky, right?
Mm.
Lucky, do you lose your chance? Or does that take away the chance from someone else to be lucky?
Ooh. I mean, when it's a head-to-head comparison like that, it seems like that's the case. But I like to think of it as maybe that wasn't really the opportunity for you. Like maybe something else will come around where you will come out on top, right?
Yeah.
Because something you have to realize. Have y'all watched the movie Bruce Almighty?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a concept in there that I found the older I got, the more I understood. Because the main character, right at the beginning, he's what you would call the embodiment of unlucky, right? Just nothing can go this man's way. And eventually he meets Morgan Freeman, aka God, right? We know Morgan Freeman is God. The man just, yeah. So he meets Morgan Freeman and he goes, "Why do you do this to me? Um, why can't you give me a break, right?" And so God asks him, "Oh, you think my job is easy? Let me tell you what. Take my place for just a while. Let me see how you do."
Mhm.
And so he has God's powers, right, for a limited period of time.
Yeah.
And so what he does is he gives everybody luck and he helps everybody flourish. You know what happens? Everything falls out of whack. It's
Yeah.
complete chaos because you need a certain amount of balance, right? Nobody can just be completely unlucky all the time, just like nobody can just be lucky all the time. Like you need to have a certain
Yeah.
amount of balance, because that's how the world functions. And if you don't have that, then you know you basically destroy the world, right? Slowly but surely. And that's what was happening in the movie. And when that happened, I was like, that makes so much sense. And then the older I got, the more I understood. Yeah, we can't all be lucky. Like the way I look at it, let's say for example, I'm sorry for this example because it's very horrible. Let's say, right, that a building is about to collapse, the
Hmm.
same way that the World Trade Center collapsed, right? And let's assume in this scenario, so because I don't want to be too gory, let's assume that everybody will make it out eventually. Some a little bit more roughed up than others, right?
Yeah.
But you have to take the elevator.
Yeah.
In the ideal world, right, everybody will be able to get on the elevator, but we know
Yeah.
that's not physically possible.
Mhm.
So some people will have to get on first, and then other people will get on later, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the same way that goes is how it happens in real life too, where in the ideal world we all want to have our way, but then we can't really function like that because you having your way means that somebody else is not gonna have their.
Hmm.
That's the way
I
our world works for the
I don't
most
know,
part.
man. Because that means this goes back to like this predestined shit. That means there's supposed to be kings and there's supposed to be peasants. So what you're
Well,
telling me, Teddy, is that there's There's leaders and there's followers, and you rather be a dick than a swallower.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Yes, there are some people, and also some of it is your natural inclination. Some people are naturally inclined to be leaders, and other people are naturally inclined to be followers. And the thing is, as much as we may rag on followers, we need them. Like, if you don't have any followers, who are you leading? Like, as a leader, you lose.
I'm about to get in my Thanos bag. Finish
Uh-oh.
it.
Oh.
Just putting the gauntlet on.
Oh, that's why I heard the static, because the gauntlet was coming on. Okay.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm serious. Like, I heard static when you started talking. I'm like, ooh,
It's probably my chair.
she's charging up. She's charging up.
No, like I disagree with the fact that we need leaders and all that. I think this world at least deserved anarchy, but that's just like an opinion, I guess. That's not.
Everything should be perfectly balanced.
What you think is an
Never
opinion
forget
too.
that.
Yeah, perfect balance. I agree. So I think everyone should have access to everything equally, and just see how the world would turn out.
I just think that people should embrace who they are and who they're meant to be, and go with it. Because there are some people
I'm meant
that
to
are
be a
meant to be
peasant.
leaders,
I'm meant
but
to get
they're
hung.
followers.
I'm meant to get hung for a crime I didn't commit. I'm meant.
No, that has nothing to do with what I just said. I'm talking about
No.
what you.
Because you said there has to be leaders and followers.
Like, no, What you're talking about is things that happen to you from outside. I'm talking like everybody has their own strengths.
But
and
leaders
weaknesses.
do actions.
Know your strengths and live up
Leaders,
to them.
but
That's what
leaders,
I'm
but
saying.
leaders have the strength to do those actions to the quote unquote followers.
They're not
right?
leaders. No, I think we have different definitions of what a leader is. Leader is people that guides the people, that supports them. Like, that's my definition of a leader. It's not somebody that just happens to be on top of other people. No. Like, the same way, like, with companies. Like, you have these people, they build these huge multi-level companies like Microsoft, like freaking McDonald's and everything. And as much as we want to talk about, I want to be one of those people that makes the big bucks, right? If you don't have the people underneath them following the quote-unquote leaders and making things happen, nothing happens. Like, the thing is, people think, oh, you can run the show just with a leader. Like, no, you need both sides of the equation, both a leader and followers. And
I think
I don't
nobody
think
should be a leader. I don't think anyone deserves to be a leader.
What?
Yeah.
What? Somebody get Melly. I'm done, man. Somebody get it.
In this society, in the Thanos world, there will be a leader, and it will be me. But
Okay.
in this society,
We're approaching the hour mark.
We are,
yeah,
as a matter of fact. But
Melly's trolling.
I'm not even trolling.
I'm
This is the funny
scared.
part.
I'm scared that she's not.
I actually want to hear this though. I want to hear, why do you not think we shouldn't have, or we should have, leaders?
Well, right now, from my personal opinion, I think we deserve to not have a steady ground. I think from a good and a bad side, I feel like a lot of people have too much power that shouldn't have power, and there's people that can't even fend for themselves out there, you know what I mean? So I feel like if everybody was on the same playing field, you know, if there was, like, there'd still have to be a system, but no leaders. If that makes sense. A collective group.
No, but
not even a fucking democracy, just a collective group.
But that's what a king is, though. That's what makes it like a good king or a good president.
But the group would shift, and they have no choice.
That they need.
The group would shift. Listen, it's just how it would work. Everyone has to think on the same equal field, but that's not how it's gonna be, right? So the
king or the leader.
I sort of switched to
person.
talk about the Thanos world, but what I'm saying is, we sort of deserve that anarchy. We really do, because we get to live in our like little like lower class freaking luxury, and then you have these people out here with ridiculous, gross fucking luxury out here, spending fucking how many generations of fucking wealth on stupid shit. So At least in these final days of the world, for whatever reason, whenever they will be, in decades or whatever, I think there should be a balance set for those people who have nothing. But not that it's gonna fucking happen, because these people are greedy as fuck. But I think everyone on the same field is what. Like,
okay, I think I understand what you're saying. I think I understand what you're saying, and I think that the difference between how we're thinking about it and you're thinking about it is this. I think what you're saying is that leaders shouldn't be rewarded in the way that they are in society today, but we should still have them because they're needed to push things forward
and like teach and just like
somebody.
I don't agree. And
hold on, let me go again, Teddy, before you go.
Oh yeah, no, that's what
I think leaders are important because need one or two, maybe 3 points of some way for ideas to consolidate so that we can make decisions about what should happen. Somebody has to be. This is what I want to say. Somebody has to be ideas forward. I think that when you have a lot of people making decisions at once, stuff tends to get messy. So if you have a designated person who is accountable for whatever we decide on, I think there's power in that and value in that. I think though that it gets bad when we reward these people disproportionately from the other people who help to make these decisions happen, like to come to fruition into like an actual product or service. That's when it gets messy in the world.
From how I see it, I find that normally the best teachers are the ones that come from a similar position or have come from like a low position. Not someone who, not like the best teachers aren't the ones that feel as though
had to work to get it.
No,
but here's the thing.
No, I'll finish. The best teachers are the ones that don't think that they're above their students.
I don't agree. A teacher is definitely above a student because they went through shit to learn what they know. But let me tell you, the best teachers, because I've been there, to me, are the teachers who are not geniuses. They had to work to understand the things they understand, so they're able to better relate to students and break down things in a way that they can understand it too. But going back to this thing we were saying earlier about leaders shouldn't be rewarded, I think they should, because just being in that position, you shoulder the burden and the responsibility of making sure that your followers are taken care of and that everything runs smooth. That pressure alone is something that if you're not in the leader, you don't really understand what it's like. And I feel like just because of that alone, you should be rewarded for that.
The reward should be that everybody is like equal. No? It wouldn't a happy society where everybody is happy?
The thing is, when you're a follower, you have the luxury of not having the burdens that the leader does. Like that's the thing. Like it balances out at the end of the day. Like, I'm not saying that one
those
deserves
people
preferential
doing
treatment
that,
over the other.
If anything, those people doing that should feel the most joy in that they're making the biggest difference in the world. So I think it balances it out.
Well, but guess what though? Even if they're making the
think
biggest
of it like charity work.
Like if they have a good head on their shoulders, right? They'll still refer back to their followers.
Everyone should.
The reason why I was able to make those things happen is because of the people that follow me.
Now, how we're talking about equality, it could go left or right, but for it to go in the good direction, they should view it as charity, not as like fucking like, oh, I'm taking my ass to do this, like no. And it would be a rotating thing. People wouldn't have to fucking be in that situation. For everyone to have their rest. I don't know. I think
I see where you're coming from, but I don't think that's enough.
My paradise is your nightmare. That's fine. That's fine.
I mean, we can talk more about it later. It's because it's something that definitely needs to be.
This is not the end.
Talked about just because I feel like there's more layers to it.
So I saw this. This is relevant to what we're talking about right now, and I saw this on BBC News. In 2015, the boss of a card payments company in Seattle introduced a $70,000 minimum salary for all of his 120 staff, and personally took a pay cut of $1 million. 5 years later, he's still on the minimum salary. Says the gamble has paid off, and the happiness of the company has grown. The company has increased the revenue by 5 times. They're worth much more than they were.
See, it can work. Like I'm telling you, it's not. I feel like
So he
the
put himself
way
on the same level as everyone else. And when Melly's talking about money,
Yes.
it went from 3.8 billion a year to 10.2 because of the
Well,
wage change.
yeah, but the thing is, right? Because sometimes I even think about it on a very much smaller scale. Like the work that I do, I see like it's really high volume, stressful at times depending on how things go. And then I look at my direct supervisor, like the my direct boss for my department, and I'm like, how come she makes more? And then you know what? I walk into her office and I understand why. Because when you're in a certain position where you're responsible for other people, you have a lot more to do naturally. Like I would never
but
expect
Key just gave
somebody
you an
that's
example.
in that position with her responsibilities to be like I would never expect for
He
you
had the
to
same
make the same
amount
amount
of
that she
responsibilities
makes.
and probably even more because he had more money, but he did like a noble thing. And it benefited everyone in that scenario, even him.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's not wrong for a leader to be making more or to
Selfish
receive more
decisions.
than.
How much more should a leader make today?
See, now that's the part that's
See,
up for
if
the
it,
conversation. I don't think like saying that they should make the same. I don't agree. 100% don't
I
agree.
think
But
everyone
when you
should be
talk
able to
about like the
survive.
gap, then we can talk. But yeah, no, that's the
But
thing. Like,
not
I'm not saying
everyone's
that they
able
should be
to
making a lot.
survive.
You know,
We're
like,
going
here's the
back,
thing.
guys. We're going back to the same old topic last time.
Oh, you know what? You know what? That's the thing. Is the church is very somehow
Yeah,
we
we're
go back
running.
to
We're
the
running.
Yeah,
root.
it's
But
Melly's prerogative. That's what she
it
tries to do
is.
every
It
day.
is.
Alright, the moral
But you
of
know
the
what?
story is fuck Luffy.
Yo!
You know what? You know what? Fuck Zoro. That's who.
Alright.
That's who.
Alright. I think we're
But
gonna end this
anyway,
podcast here
we
because
we we're
people are
gonna end it. We're
talking
gonna.
blasphemy. Teddy keeps trying to talk over me. It's fine.
I'm not trying to talk over you. We're talking over each other. What are you doing,
Anyways,
man?
thank you for those
Hey,
who
I
are trying
want
to.
I want to
I
play
don't
back.
care.
I want to play
People,
back
shut
because
up.
you're
People are
gonna
gonna
say,
keep trying to.
wow.
Teddy, she's gonna
shit.
give you a.
I'm
she's
gonna
gonna give you
give
a
it right
mark.
back, right? I'm gonna give it right back. Anyway.
Teddy's gonna get 2
But-
strikes, bro.
Hey, you know what? I think after tonight alone, I already 3. But you know, I don't. It doesn't really matter.
Probably.
Right?
Yo,
But
I
here's
just
the
watched
thing.
Haiku. Haiku is actually fire. I watch
Okay,
all.
I told you.
okay.
I told you. But here's the
Okay.
thing. Here's the thing. We're
Okay,
gonna
bye.
we're gonna wrap. And actually, no, never wrap it up.
Hey,
But
never.
Wrap
we-
it up. Goodbye. Good night.
Hey everyone listening.
We'll see you
if
guys next week.
Wait, I wanna say something. Are we
Oh my
done?
god. Go.
No, we're not wrapping up. Go ahead.
No, we're
If you guys wanna continue this conversation with us, come join us in the Thanos Pirate server on Discord. Link in the description.
And if you're lucky, you might just be featured on the podcast.
I gotta watch Diamond Oasis. I gotta see if Key's hype.
Hey,
Alright.
Diano 8.
Bye.
I